Coach, what's DJ Harvey's best position?
You know, right now we're repping him at boundary corner, field corner, and then he's taking some reps in the slot. So he's a guy that, from a skill set standpoint, we feel like can do all three. So we're trying to get him as many reps at those spots as possible and try to see which one's his best spot.
And then how about Alex Graham? What have you seen from him?
Alex Graham, he's a very smart football player for being an incoming freshman who missed half a spring. Just been very impressed with how he's picked everything up. He's been a guy that, again, he's picked it up fast enough to where we've been able to move him around. So he's played some corner, he's played a lot in the slot, and he's actually played some safety too. So he's played all around.
I know you've talked about the depth of that corner spot now and just the competition there. How would you say that competition has been playing out these first couple?
You know, it's super competitive, which is good, but it's still open. So, you know, we're just looking for people to separate themselves, but the competition is good.
Where did Chasen Johnson stand out to you initially on film that caught your interest?
Just his play style. You know, he plays with edge. He's sticky. He can stay on top. You know, he has the ability to be a true number one corner. So we're excited about what he can do this year and down the road.
I know Trojan had coached him last year. How much was he kind of in his corner, kind of pushing like this?
Oh,
we got to go after.
He's his biggest fan. You know, he loves Chasen, and Chasen loves him as well. But no, T. Reed's his biggest fan.
Elijah Nbie went to defensive end during the spring, and then now he's back at linebacker. What was the evaluation to make that move and then now bring him back to fall camp?
You know, with some of the depth we had on the edge, we wanted to see, do we want to put him down there every day for every down? And he did a lot of good things in the spring. When we evaluated spring, we just felt like he does too many good things off the ball as well. And we have positions off the ball that, you're on the ball, you're off the ball. So we want to put him in that role just so he can do a little bit more than just one thing.
What have you seen Prophet Brown's kind of path trajectory from when you got here to what you have now?
I mean, he's taken a big step, and he's one of the guys that we trust the most on defense. He can play nickel, he can play the corner. There's actually been some times in a pinch he can go play safety just because he knows what to do. Outside of Kamari, I would say there's no one on the back end that knows the defense quite like him.
7 practices in. Who's surprised you so far?
I wouldn't say anyone has surprised me. All the competitions are super competitive. Some of the incoming kids who are new, like a guy like Matai, like he's still picking up stuff. He's still making mistakes every single day, but he also makes a handful of plays that you're just like, wow.
What was the key for Prophet just kind of putting it all together in the way it seems like he is?
I'm not sure. I wasn't with him early in his career, but since we've been here, I feel like he's shown up. He's been super consistent. He competes every single day. He doesn't complain. He doesn't worry about what spot he's playing. He just competes. I
know you mentioned he can play outside and inside corner. Is he a better fit for either one of those?
I think he does both of them naturally well. And it probably depends on what type of team you're playing as well.
How are you measuring the progression of the linebackers? It's one of the lesser experienced position groups on the team.
Yeah, we're trying to get all those guys reps, because of some depth and lack of playing experience. We're trying to get guys playing in multiple spots. It's very good in competition in that room. We have a lot of young talent. We just need to get them as many reps as possible.
When you evaluate practice tape, like after tonight, what are you specifically looking at?
The first time I look at it, I'm just looking at the overall execution of the defense. Are we playing with obnoxious effort, shocking communication? Are we attacking the ball? And then I'll go try to look at it like position by position, more like in technique stuff.
How long does that take you?
It takes me quite a while. I like going through it twice before I go with it, before I do it with the staff. So I watch it 3 or 4 times.
Coach, when you say obnoxious effort, who are some guys on defense who you think of?
Eric Gentry, Devin Tompkins. We have a linebacker, Cheese. He's one of the hardest practicing kids I've ever seen. Those 3, I'd say.
Where's Floyd Picard that stood out to you early on?
Floyd has really stood out with his interior and pass rush. Just the way he moves is a little bit different for guys inside. He's still making mistakes every single day, but again, he's a guy who flashes and he does some things that you just can't coach.
Do you ever worry about Coach Ryan, hitting and tackling Nbie at 62 years old or however?
He's been doing it his whole life, man. He'll be all right.
What does that do for the guys, just, seeing him have his own obnoxious effort and communication?
They love it. The energy he brings in that room every single day, it carries out here on the field. That's the most energetic group on the field every single day.
You're a guy who's coached with your dad
Yeah.
before. Rob has talked about being able to have his son out here. How would you describe their dynamic when they're coaching together?
It's awesome. When I was with my dad, he was on offense. I was on defense. So it was weird. There was days we wouldn't even talk. It's cool with them because they get a chance to really coach together. And, Matt, he gets a chance to learn from the best.
They have a lot of the same mannerisms. And
They do.
Coach, is there anyone you feel like you've challenged and you wanted to see more from so far in camp? Anyone can get there, but you just want to see some more?
I would say just the competitions in the DB room. Like I said, the competitions have been very, very competitive, which is good. But we've just been challenging those guys, like someone separate yourself in that group.
Besides consistency, what does separation look like?
Consistency is the biggest thing. I would say building trust, and everyone's going to have bad plays, but how bad are your bad plays? Do your bad plays kill us, or do they just hurt us a little bit?
Are you close to deciding who's going to get the green dot?
It's been we've had days where it's on all the inside backers. We've had days where we're putting it on the DBs. We have a couple practices that are going to be at the stadium where we'll move the ball. So I think we'll have a better idea after those.